remember the exact day that my money from the military did not hit my account. I was no longer getting paid on the 1st or the 15th. And for years, I knew exactly how much money would be in my account on the 1st and the 15th. And now that was gone. No more safety net. Not having the money that I had been accustomed to hit in my account, it really left me taken aback. Like, I was just like, oh, shit, like, girl, this is real. You know, not having found a job yet, I was just kind of like, what are we gonna do? You know, I got these two human beings that are dependent on me to make it happen. So as y'all know, I went to school for CNA and MedTech, and I have decided to start a career in MedTech, and that has been horrible because coming out of school, they want you to have job experience, but you can't have job experience for a job that you just learned how to do. As you guys know, there was 2 deaths that happened outside of family. There was the death of my career and the death of my marriage. You know, I am now a single mother of 2. There is no 2-parent household anymore. So I have to figure this out all on my own. And now on the 1st or the 15th, I will not be getting the regular salary that I was getting. So I was extremely emotional, okay? And not even just because of the financial things that were taking place, but going from being a soldier to being a civilian is a change within itself. Like, I was having a culture shock. The civilian world is completely different from the military world. So now I have to look at the cost of my freedom, trade-off of losing my security. Because that's what I had been in the Army. I had security, I had a safety net, and now I no longer have that. Coming out of the Army and finding a job, they love to say it's gonna be so easy because companies love the military. That's not always accurate, you know? It wasn't super easy for me to find a job. It hasn't been super easy for me to find a job. So on to the VA battlefield. So you would think that I would be getting VA benefits and that I could use that to contribute to my lifestyle right now, right? Girl, no. Nope. Y'all remember the whole saying, hurry up and wait in the Army? Well, it is strangely familiar here on the outside. You're still dealing with the military nonetheless when you're going to try to get your VA benefits, and it is literally hurry up and wait. I'm so frustrated with the endless battles that I have with paperwork. Like, I'm constantly having to fill out paperwork, going to appointments, having to prove this, having to prove that. It's just constant. You get what I'm saying? They tell you to keep your paperwork, like all your medical information before you get out. And I would say definitely do that. And if you can get the original, get the original. Because it can be absolute hell trying to prove that you have these issues and that they are service related, right? When I went in the Army, I did not have asthma. I went in service with no inhaler, came out with an inhaler. Didn't have sleep apnea. Now I have sleep apnea. Didn't have back issues. I was actually going to the doctors about my back while I was still on the inside. I have ringing in my ears now. You know, they call it tinnitus. Like, I have ringing all day long. My ears will ring, stop. You know, I have that I deal with. And PTSD. I didn't have PTSD before I joined, you know. And especially after dealing with so many different deaths, the Army definitely aggravated it. You get what I'm saying? So all these things are something that I should be able to file when I go do my disability claim. Now, the paperwork that I thought they were going to need, they do not need, and they want the original copies of my med paperwork, and I don't have said paperwork. So I sent off to get said paperwork, and y'all, the type of red tape your girl has been having to jump through to get her medical records. So there is another route that they were like, we can take. So the guy that's helping me find my VA benefits is like, well, you can get all these medical records from your civilian doctors and then bring those in. We can file those. And then at that point, they have to go and find your originals and or send you to their doctors so that they can say yay or nay, you know, improving these conditions that you have, and then hopefully get you a percentage. So getting VA benefits have been a battle. And if I had known, I would have prepared myself better, and we'll talk about that towards the end of this video. With that being said, being a solo mom, I'm definitely having to prioritize the girls, and I don't have that safety net, as I said before. So I have to think about, like, what bill am I going to pay first? Obviously, rent is going to be the first thing that you think about, because we were homeless and I don't want to go back to being homeless. As you know, I do not have a 9-to-5 right now. I am doing DoorDash, Uber Eats, all the delivery channels to bring in income. So essentially, I'm a private contractor and I'm working for myself. And as I said, like, I don't have like a salary amount of money that I can be like, okay, this goes here, this goes here, this goes there. Girl, I'm just trying to make the money. And as I make the money, I have to pay the bills. The bills don't slow down. The bills still come. The bills could care less that you haven't secured a 9-to-5 yet. And so that has been trying as well for me to, keep the girls in something, to keep them, happy and out of trouble as well. They're teenagers now, and you want to keep your kids in something because you don't want them out in the streets and the streets teaching them things. You get where I'm coming from. So that has proven to be a stressor in the background. Things that I try to keep away from the girls. I want them to think they were just living a normal life, And girl, it's these civilian costs that I didn't have before. So, for instance, everything is just kind of included in like that lump sum of like money that you get, and then just things that are just included with you being in the military. You're gonna have your medical, you're gonna have your dental, you're gonna have your allowance for food, your allowance for clothes, your BH, all those things just kind of all come with it. On the outside, they don't. So whenever I have to take the girls to the hospital, y'all, that is a fee. That costs money. If you get in the ambulance, you got to pay that fee. And once you get to the hospital, you have to pay that fee. And if you don't have insurance, that fee is already like $1,000. You get what I'm saying? And even if you do have insurance, like Obamacare or some type of like low cost insurance, like, you're coming out of pocket a lot of times with these co-pays. So those are expenses that I didn't have before that I have to pencil in now, right? Like, okay, this is going to be an expense. As far as getting their teeth cleaned and stuff like that, and bracelets and all that, that is an expense. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, like I said, you have dental and all that on the inside, and yeah, it's coming from somewhere out of that paycheck, but a lot of times you don't see that, right? Whereas in civilian life, like, to get my daughter braces is like $4,000. To get their teeth cleaned, to get a tooth removed, like to get an extraction, $500 for one tooth. Those are some huge civilian costs that I didn't have to worry about when I was in the Army. I didn't have these type of issues, and now, like, I have to add those into my budget sheet. You get what I'm saying? So again, my safety net's gone. I am choosing to, of course, create content so that I can share my journey, and hopefully this be another source of income along with working as a medication tech. Like, I'm so ready to start regular work. Although it is another 9-to-5, I don't think that it would be as strenuous as it was with me being in the Army. I do feel like it still would allow for a lot more freedom and me not being bullied every day while at work. And I would just say to those of you who are still serving, one thing that I wish people had told me before I got out is, girl, guys, 6 months before you ETS, I would very much so prioritize putting money back, because you never know what's gonna happen once you get out. Once you have had that last paycheck, you don't know. Hopefully you will be going straight into another job, or hopefully it won't be a whole dance and song for you to get your VA benefits. But in the case that it does take a while, like it has been for me and a lot of other people that I know, you should have some money saved back. You need a safety net. You need a continuous safety net, right? Like, don't lose your safety net like how I did. You get what I'm saying? Be saving up, right? If you're looking to live in the same area, see how much it's costing for you to live out there. If you can keep TRICARE or pay into it, like I've heard some people say that, or even some type of portion of it or whatever, try that route. or just look into it all. You get what I'm saying? Do your research. Do your research. See what the cost of living is in that city, how much the rent is, how much a typical light bill would be in said area, how much the water is going for, like, base pays. Obviously it's not going to be exact, but you can have a roundabout. If you don't plan on working at all and you plan on just being a disabled vet and getting your 100%, which is $3,934, I believe. See if you can live off of that. Think about if you're going to need to have like a little side job or not. Like, I've looked it up for, at least in Florida, that is what 100% is, and that's if you get 100%. So it's almost 4K, almost. See if that's a livable wage for you. Just be ready. Be ready for any and everything, because you just never know what's going to happen. Like, you could be one of those people who it takes forever for your VA loan, for your VA to come through. And you don't want to be a homeless veteran. Even though there are avenues, there are things that you can do. Remember that I was homeless for 6 months the second time. The second time, before I even got picked up by the VA to help out with my housing and things like that for me and the girls. It's not one of those quick turnarounds that they would have you think it is. Like, when you're getting ready to transition out of the service, you go to all these classes, and a lot of the times they make you think as if, oh, it's going to be a piece of cake. I promise you it's not. I promise you it's not. I promise you that they're just speaking on what they think is going to happen, or what somebody possibly told them on the outside based on them being in that uniform, right? But the real deal is not as simple as they make it out to be. They will definitely tell you getting a job will not be hard because you have that uniform on. That's not true. They will tell you companies love the military. They get a tax write-off for you. That's true. They get a tax write-off for you, but a lot of times it isn't any easier for you to get a job than any other civilian that's going up for the exact same job. I really implore you to make sure that you have plan B, C, D, E, F. Right? Because you already know what plan A is. But if A don't work, you need all these other plans. Like, just make sure you have other things set in motion so that you don't have to come out and deal with a lot of the issues that I've dealt with. Now, I know that was a lot to take in, me telling you about all the, I don't even want to say like cons, but all of the different issues that I've had to deal with not having my safety net anymore. But in all actuality, I found a lot more peace, right? I'm not being bullied by my superiors anymore. I'm not afraid to talk about my mental health anymore. And had I stayed in, I don't even think that I would be here to be able to tell you guys about what I'm actively going through to try to fix, my situation, right? I think that I would have already been gone, if y'all get what I'm saying. So I still think at the end of the day, even though I have lost my safety net, I can always get that back. And at some point, I will be in a better position than what I am in right now. I know that. I'm speaking that. But I don't regret walking away for my peace. I needed my peace of mind. And ultimately, that is the biggest reason why I chose to let all of that go. So the safety net that I have spoke about in this video, I let that go because I needed peace. I needed my mental to be okay. I needed to be an okay person so that I can then do better for my kids. Because the person that I was on the inside, she wouldn't have been able to figure out anything for her children. You know what I'm saying? She wouldn't be able to sit here right now in this beautiful apartment. Yes, I am struggling, but the apartment is beautiful. But I wouldn't be able to sit here right now and give you guys this story time. I really hope that this video has helped someone. If you have any questions, definitely leave them down below. If there's any other videos you would like to see from me in this series on why I left the Army, make sure you put that in the comments down below as well. And if there's anyone that has already been through this and is watching this video, if you have any tips and tricks for those of us who are trying to get our VA benefits, please comment down below and let us all know, because girl, it is hard out here for a sister. But yeah, that is the end of this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you all in my next one. Bye, babes.